What's up guys, Sub-Zero here with another game from the Tacticians Cup #1. This is a VOD from Robinsongz POV. He tied for second place overall on day one, had a fantastic day one, and I wanted to see what he did to have, such an insane performance. Before we get too far into the video, I would like to give a quick shout out to today's sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. Now, I've talked about Manta Sleep already, how much I love their masks. I haven't talked about anything that involves the refrigerator yet. These are their cooling eye cups. These are so cool. Pop them in the fridge. Consider for a second that you haven't finished doing your laundry yet. Actual time may vary. Put them in for probably longer than that, but these had already been in the freezer for quite a while. Take them out, and these get really, really cool. I got some eye cup ASMR here where you feel them. They have all these little beads inside of them that cool really, really well when you pop them into the fridge. And you just pop these onto your eyes with the mask here. I'll show you how to do it. It's really, really easy. You just attach them with the, I guess it's Velcro probably, onto this. Put that onto your head, and oh my god, it is so relaxing. I had my eyes just felt really hot, probably because I was staring at my computer all day the other day. And I put these on, and oh my god, it felt amazing immediately. My girlfriend had an allergic reaction. She got sunscreen in her eyes, and she had a reaction to it. She was shocked by how nice these cooling pads felt on her. Nice, she was going crazy for it. If you guys want to get your own or any of Manta's other sleep masks that I've talked about and love, check out the link in the description. Use code Sub-Zero for a discount on your order. All right, now that we're back. This is, this is Robinsongz. He bot forward, I think same as Setsuko. I think he bot forward one game. He bot forward his first game, actually, and then top forward, maybe even top 2 to every single game after that. So, fantastic performance by Robin. A very, very consistent player. I mean, very, very happy to see that, our top 3 was Setsuko, Robin, and Pocky, 3 North American players. I don't actually know how far NA goes down in the standings, but we did very, very well on the day. So, obviously, happy to see that. He picks up this Thresh from an early orb, and he's thinking about potentially playing this Faded opener. He actually sells his other units you saw in his last shop there to even just make 10 gold here, and says, I mean, if I pick up a Yasuo, I can just play around this Ahri, I can play around this Thresh and be very, very happy. Pick up a bow, pick up a Senna, so it is going to be a pretty low item opener. With low item openers like that, I tend to like stuff like Buried Treasures, just because it gets you back up to those items that you already have. You have 2 components open. If you make Buried Treasures, you can make 2 full items instead of 0, because you don't want to slam Titans here. So I like Buried Treasures in a spot like this. Component Buffet is also another solid option. He even, just goes for the Component Buffet. Oh, and it looks like we're in gold subscription is our portal. So that means that we're going to be getting extra gold throughout the game every single round. It's going to be a pretty high cap lobby, which is something to certainly consider. But yeah, I mean, without a lot of direction here, we don't have a Faded board to play around. I like Robin just sitting here, 20 gold, not trying to play for win streak in this spot. We have nothing as far as win streaking like units. And the other thing I really, really like is we just don't even pop the anvil yet. We want more direction. If we hit an Ahri 2, we can think about going for like a Nashor's or Static Shiv. If we pick up like an Aphelios somehow once we hit level 4, maybe you can think about, playing around that. We get 2 component anvils, which is actually not that great for us because we have the upside of having the ability to pick our items, but now we don't really get that. It's as if we got 2 random components because all of our random components become anvils. So actually a little bit sad. The upside is it does allow us to just pick basically like 2 full items for our carry, which is not bad at all. We can basically have a 3-item carry or even like a 3-item tank in this Thresh early this stage if we want to. So certainly something that we can consider. The other thing is that Robin actually played a decent amount of Faded on the day. So, and with seeing the Aphelios here, I would not be surprised at all to see him play around it. Now we have a lot of direction. We can look to start building items out of what we get off Carousel and with what we have here. This is actually a really, really nice direction for Robin. I would say you just pick whatever items you want to play around with the extra anvils here. We're actually going to win this fight because we rotate into a Fortune player, but that's not the worst. He even actually starts popping these anvils just to see what's in them. So he's going to take a bow here, not going to pile the Gwynsu, he's going to pile going for maybe red buff here. And I would love to pop this, right before Carousel. Beautiful. This allows you to look at what's in the anvil while Carousel's going on. I would actually probably look at this Aphelios with tier. It's a second Aphelios, and you get to pick all your items, so you're really interested in just picking units at this spot. Just go for like an IE, I guess, and we can go Vow onto the Thresh, and it's red buff IE Vow. The only thing I'm slightly scared of with that setup is I am of the opinion that Gwynsu is really, really important on Aphelios. It just feels like this setup, he doesn't have enough attack speed, but looks like Robin disagrees. He prioed the red buff over the Gwynsu, so this is going to be the setup that he's going to play around. And hey, maybe we're going to learned today that, you know, it's not the most important. I actually do also like this pair here of the Thresh plus the Yasuo. We already have just a lot of stats onto this Aphelios, though I guess the AD is pretty solid on him. But it's just going to buy a lot of time for Aphelios to proc red buff, do a lot of work in these fights. So I think it's pretty reasonable. Got a Yasuo pair here to play around, Ahri pair as well. So, I mean, we have a very straightforward opener. The one thing I will say about Robinsongz is he loves playing games like this. We have a very straightforward opener. You know what you're playing right now, and he's basically just going to either pivot this into an Ashe game, or he's just going to play around Aphelios. That's Robin's bread and butter. You take a comp at 2-1, you commit to something, and you play that the entire game, and you know, it does very well for him a lot of the time, because he's not too dizzy when he's doing stuff like this. You don't get dizzy at all, because you know what you're playing from the start of the game. It allows you to, you know, plan towards your game plan really, really well. He's even throwing in a few extra units in the planner here, the Caitlyn, the Shen, other stuff that we could pick up that would juice our board up a bit. So stuff outside of maybe the 5 Faded, which is normally the board that you play for here. Though it looked like, yeah, let's actually go back and look at that real quick. It looked like he pulled up Exalted here, and that's the idea, is trying to fit Exalted in here. Nautilus, Syndra, Shen would be the setup if you wanted to fit an Exalted. It's certainly something that we could look at here. We could hold on to the Shen if we really want to. But yeah, that's the idea, is that late game we could actually fit an Exalted onto this board here. I would probably look at a Rod for a Thresh item here. Curious to see what he takes here. He's looking at it. Crown Guard is pretty solid. Crown Guard Adaptive Helm could just be items here. Could also go for, what is that, Redemption Crown Guard maybe? We'll see. Yeah, Crown Guard Redemption is his setup here. I think that's a very solid setup, maybe even better than the Adaptive Helm. Getting the Thresh cast is nice, but late game this Thresh will likely be a tank monster, so I think this makes sense. It allows us to play flexibly around what we get. We can finish out Aphelios items, we can finish out Thresh items, we can start looking at Syndra items, we can do it all here. And I'm curious actually to see, we went early level 6 here because our board's pretty strong. Are we going to roll it all, or are we just going to go fast level 7 and then roll on 7? Heavy Hitter's a good augment late game. He's just going to tailor. Oh no, it looked like he was going to tailor actually. But yeah, he ends up, I like the Portable Forge here a decent bit. Sniper's Focus would be fine on Aphelios. Eternal Winter is probably one of the best options that we can get here. Finish out Thresh items, and I mean, it's just going to make... our Thresh is going to be, like I said, he's going to be a monster late game. Now with Eternal Winter, he's going to be able to slow down all of the enemy's carries. This looks really, really nice. And yeah, I like this a lot. The only downside from taking that Portable Forge is that there are a decent amount of misses. If you don't hit a tank item or like a Sniper's Focus, you know, Mana Zane's not amazing. I guess it can go to like Syndra later. Zanya's not really amazing. I guess it can go on Syndra later. That's the upside, I guess, is that you have the opportunity to hit all those things here. Yeah, I don't imagine it's component anvil. I think I would just go gold here, but we'll see. I don't think you're really in need of more items here. It also doesn't finish anything. Looks like he might just still go for the component anvil just to finish out an item after Carousel, yeah. And I love this roll here. We're paired up on Aphelios and Thresh. We're Giga Fast level 7, by the way. I didn't really talk about too much, but 3-2 level 7, because we're in this portal where we're going to have extra gold, and because we're on a streak, we're allowed to do that. It's just go level 7 at 3-2, and we're still making 30. We're really, really rich. But with the double pairs there of the Thresh and the Aphelios, I feel like you have to roll in that spot there, and this spikes our board really, really well. You maybe even roll next round as well. Once again, I'm going to pop open this anvil right as we go into Carousel. Because we are third round of picks, it might be a little bit hard, but oh my god, I mean, that's Aphelios with Rod. You take Gwynsu here. The game is too easy. The one thing I will say about this comp, actually, is that it's a little bit out of meta now. You know, a lot of people were really, really high on it. They kind of nerfed it a little bit by nerfing Set's healing from Faded this patch, so I think this is a comp that a lot of people are not angling towards. It's a pretty uncontested comp, which, you know, that's why you see some people are talking about playing around stuff like Syndra, because, you know, there's so few people who actually want to play around Faded units. Obviously, this is an Aphelios game, but yeah. We also, man, getting to the Gwynsu here is fantastic. Have to imagine we're going to pick up the Thresh here just to keep the Thresh 3 Dream open. If we don't see any more Aphelioses or Threshes, you could consider pushing levels. Another component anvil or gold? Okay, at this point, it's got to be gold, right? Yeah, okay. We have so many items this game, man. I mean, in hindsight, his picking up that anvil, though, was really, really nice. Guaranteed that he was going to get to this Gwynsu. Well, made it quite likely that he was going to get to this Guinsoo here, and it really worked out that there was a rod on the Aphelios. Popping it during Carousel was fantastic. Imagine if he popped it before Carousel and had taken the rod, and then, you know, had gotten another rod off Carousel, then he would have been stuck with Death Cap instead of Guinsoo, which is a big loss. Only downside with this Aphelios build is that we don't really have any Armor Shred, but Aphelios does have inbuilt Armor Shred, so it's not the end of the world. It's just we have to wait until he gets to his cast to get to that Armor Shred, which, you know, it takes a little while, but it's not the end of the world, like I said. 8 streak here from Robin, though. I mean, a really, really nicely played early game. He saw the line, and this is an uncontested comp. Like I said, he's got around the board. There are barely any Aphelios out. I'm curious to see now, does he want to push levers or does he want to roll? With 5 Threshes, I have to imagine you're just going to roll on 7, try to dig for this Thresh 3. We're going to look for Archangels for Syndra, which is fantastic. Looks like we're going to go 8 and roll on 8. The 3-cost odds were nerfed at level 7, and so the difference between 3-cost odds at 7 and 8 is not that high. So, okay, I think this makes sense. We're actually not going to roll at 7 here. We're just going to go fast 8 and then roll on 8. Even slams the Archangels onto the Kindred here just for strongest board because he really wants to win this fight, maintain his streak. Looks like we're just barely not going to be able to keep it. Yeah, cannot win this fight. I mean, a little greedy to just pre-level and not even level there. I'm surprised but I mean, he wants to be as strong as possible there. He's looking for Fated +1 here. I know the stats really love Armistice in this comp, but it looks like he doesn't like it that much. Final Ascension looks great there. We're going to pick up a Syndra. Do need to find replacement Kindred here. There's another Syndra. Going to continue to roll down here, looking for something. Really, okay, Syndra 2 is really nice. We don't have that replacement Kindred, so we're just going to open sell her and then throw in the Udyr here. A decent unit to get on the board. Right now, we're 2 out of 3 Exalted. We're still waiting on that Nautilus, I guess, is the unit that you want to get Exalted in over the Udyr. And yeah, I mean, the build makes sense, right? It gets Sniper in with Kate. Like, it actually fits really well. And the Syndra 2 is fantastic. There's an Ornn, which I mean, I guess it's not better than Udyr. It's a little bit close because Ornn farming items, especially if we get one onto the Syndra, would be really nice, but it's hard to get there. But we're probably just going to sit for a few rounds. I'm curious to see if we want to go 9 or roll more on 8. I think with 6 Threshes, I have to feel like we should roll more on 8 to find a Thresh 3, and then we can play around that, go from there. You know, say we find Thresh 3 but have no Aphelioses, we could just skip Aphelios 3, just build Thresh 3. My nose has been... Yeah, that was a story that started last VOD with me itching my nose from last VOD, and I just sneezed now in this VOD. Don't tell you that you can watch these VODs in any order. I say you can only watch these VODs starting from the first VOD of the set going into the last VOD, because if you don't, you're gonna miss important context. Pick up a tier onto an Ornn here. Ornn, a nice unit to fit onto the board potentially, and it's also just half of a blue buff for Syndra. And yeah, he's even gonna immediately sell the Ornn and say, I really don't want to play around the Ornn. He could be normally he's what you'd play, but I just want to play this Exalted version of the board because I barely lose anything. I get to fit Ghostly, I get to fit Behemoth, I get to fit Warden once I find Set, and I get Exalted, which is the big thing. Big boost in damage to our entire board. Our Aphelios has no % damage increase here. Actually, he doesn't have anything like a Giant Slayer or a Guard Breaker, so the % damage increase is going to be really nice on the crit, on the AD that we already have. So yeah, imagine like I said, I imagine that we slow roll here a bit. Looks like we're looking at just going fast 9 every moment where I've said that Robin is going to roll here. I think he's looking at just pushing levels in spots like this. And yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense. You can cap your board at a lot higher on 9. The only downside is it'll make it a bit harder to find this Thresh 3. But yeah, Robin, not one to say, hey, I'm going to cap out with this Thresh 3. I'm just going to cap out hitting everything. The Ascension hits, man, this augment was so good. After we already have this Archangel, already have these Guinsoo, these scaling items go so crazy in Fated, especially once we get the set in later. He's looking at throwing a Yone onto the board for Umbral, and I mean, it's kind of Reaper. It's an Exalted unit. That would just be instead of Shen, it looked like, was the idea. You get Umbral in later, and then fit in, was he looking at a different Behemoth, it looked like? I don't know. This is a slightly difficult spot to pilot for sure. Gonna pick up the blue buff here, and then just pick up a final Syndra item in the JG. Love that. You're gonna have a ton of AP onto this Syndra with the Archangels, so it's pretty reasonable to do this. And yeah, he's just gonna go fast 9, say I can find Thresh 3 on 9 if I really want to. It's not a huge drop in odds. We're fighting a triple Hull Crusher Annie 2 from Call to Chaos, which is pretty scary. And our board should be relatively weak compared to boards like this who have used all their gold because we're sitting on 50. But hey, Robin doesn't care. He's 50 HP as well here. He can go 9 next level and start rolling. Try to pick up stuff like the Set, the Lysandra, the Ornn, the Udyr, the Exalted stuff that we want to put in. So, yep, we hit a Set pretty quickly. Also, we even find a Silas, which is going to go onto our board here, which is pretty cool. Going to throw in the Tristana here for Exalted, just to fit Exalted. And, I mean, the other upside of going 9, right, is that we get to play around more stats from Exalted. We don't have to worry too much about, you know, the fact that we're stuck on 8 or something like that. It's a little bit of extra damage to our board. We're going to, looks like, lose this fight as well. We do need a few more upgrades to be really strong. And he's going to give up on the Udyr at this point. Holding on to this extra Syndra here. This is something that I don't do a lot because I think, you know, I'm never going to hit Syndra 3. But, I mean, Syndra, a very uncontested unit in the current meta, so I think this makes a lot of sense. And yeah, this is going to be the board for now. He's even going to sit here on 40 gold, not roll any more here. I mean, this is really, really nice. Just to not roll in a spot like this, I think it's scary, but it makes sense. And I love this addition of the random Silas here. I think he's a fantastic unit. Obviously, he doesn't really fit in the comp synergy-wise, but he does a little bit. But the big thing is he's just a 2-star unit that can exist on the board, and you know, it's not bad by any means. Item-wise here, normally start looking for like Set items. Could be Sterax for Set. Looks like he is. Yeah, just gonna pick up the Sterax for Set. It's quite likely we're gonna find a Set too. He's getting increased HP from the fact that we have faded in, so this looks really, really good. And the question just becomes, when's Robin gonna roll? Looks like he's maybe going fast 10 in this position. Just Gigaflex gameplay, strong enough board. Why not go level 10 and cap the board out insanely high every step of the way? This almost looks like a reroll game, but it wasn't reroll. One thing I would say that's a little bit odd about this setup, it calls back to that Dish Soap VOD where something similar happened. He's putting his Eternal Winter in the middle. It's kind of scary because that means Eternal Winter isn't going to be procced at the start of the fight. It's not going to slow down the attack speed of the main carry. I feel like you want this Thresh on the edge. The only downside to that is that your Thresh might just die kind of quickly. I guess he's trying to get that first redemption proc. Rolls a little bit here. Looks like he's not so confident in the fast 10, but hey, maybe once he hits Nautilus too, he'll start looking at it. Also, I love that we scouted here, saw someone had like a pretty strong board and then rolled. This is just really, really clean TFT play. Only roll when you're forced to. Scout your opponents here, and yeah, we see some kind of strong people. We roll down a bit, find Nautilus 2, and hey, maybe Nautilus 2 swung this fight with the fact that our front line lives so long. We end up beating DQA there, so fantastic stuff from Robin. Now he's 50 gold. Picks up a Set pair, picks up another Nautilus. He's scouting around, looking at how many Nautiluses are out as well. He's holding so many 4 costs here, looking at potential 3 stars, and he's holding onto the Thresh here. He gives up on the Silas there. He's not holding onto a lot of Silases, but he does look at the Syndra, so it's probably the case that a lot of Silases are out. But hey, 3 Syndras off with 50 gold here is pretty reasonable. There's another one. Like I said, this is a very uncontested unit. A lot of Silases there, another Nautilus, another Syndra, and boom! Syndra 3 on 6-1 out of nowhere. Beautiful econ management from Robin, I would say, this game. This was crazy. Really, really nice scouting. He looked around, saw probably that there was a Silas out, so that he didn't want to go for the Silas. He knows that Syndra is an uncontested unit. This guy is looking at potentially a Galio 3, but they die. Oh my god. So that means we're going to be able to potentially win the lobby unless someone else hits a 3-star 4-cost. Syndra 3 is just going to destroy the rest of the lobby. I loved the econ management from Robin this game, just building a strong board and never over-rolling at every step of the way, holding the units that he needed to hold. And looks like he was actually holding the Nautiluses. There's someone else looking for Nautilus 3, but I mean, we have 3 out of the pool. Did they have like a Hui or a duplicator or something? Because we have a Nautilus 2 on our board here, so I assume, I mean, it's very, very unlikely that they'll be able to hit unless they get access to like a Hui or a duplicator or something. I didn't see if I didn't think they had a dupe on bench, but maybe I missed it or something. We are going to win this fight as well. Our board's so strong now with the Syndra. Yeah, he gives up on the Nautilus because probably the Nautilus player is dead, and now all he's looking at denying is a Kayn. Also picks up Thresh 3 on the way just for good measure. Finally picked that up, and yeah, this guy is 1 off Kayn actually, so he's going to start... He sold a unit on bench there just to roll down and try to pick up Kayn's. Looks like they just barely did not hit here. Hopefully they're going to go down here and we can take the win. But the number one thing that I feel like I took away from this game was Robin's just his discipline of his econ. There's no way that like so many other players would have overrolled in spots this game, but he just held the line. He knew exactly how strong his board was. He didn't want to overroll in spots like that. He just decided to hoard his resources and roll down on 9 for a Syndra 3 when he saw that no one else was playing Syndra, that a lot of 4-costs around the pool. And yeah, I mean, just a beautiful game overall from Robin. I really, really loved how he played just this opener from start to finish, and then playing around the cap of the Syndra 3-star was fantastic. So, yep, something pretty strange would have to happen for Robin to lose this game. His entire board would have to die, and then Lysandra would have to ult Syndra. But I doubt, certainly doubt that's going to happen. It looked scary for about half a second, then Ascension proc Syndra cast, and GG's. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. Once again, thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.